It started on a Wednesday. Cold, gray, boring. The kind of day where nothing should happen, and then everything does. My name is Lisa Harper. I'm 33, single mom. I work nights as a cleaner at the community college and spend mornings trying to get my son, Cody, to eat cereal before school. Cody is 6, funny, wild, sweet, and he has ADHD, the kind that makes teachers roll their eyes and principals sigh. Every morning is a battle, but we manage. Until that day. That day, Cody didn't come home. The school bus pulled up at 2:48. Empty. I called the office. They said he'd already left. I said, no, he hasn't. There was a pause. Then a voice I didn't know said, let me call you back. 15 minutes passed. Then they called. We found him. He was in our behavioral support room, must have fallen asleep. Fallen asleep? In a locked room? They said he'd acted out in gym, threw a ball at a teacher. So they used the calm down room. I didn't even know that existed. No windows, no furniture, just mats, a closet with soft walls. He'd been in there for over 3 hours, forgotten. I drove like a madwoman, burst into the front office. They gave me a clipboard, asked me to sign him out. I said, where is my son? He walked out with a staff member, puffy eyes, sweater damp with sweat. His shoelaces were missing. His voice was gone. I knelt. Cody? He just looked at me, didn't speak for the rest of the day, didn't eat dinner. That night, he wet the bed for the first time in over a year. I went back the next morning. The principal said it was standard protocol. Said the room was safe. Said they followed guidelines. I asked, who checked on him? She looked at her folder. Didn't answer. I pulled Cody from school. Took time off work. Filed a complaint. Waited. 2 weeks later, no answer. Just a voicemail from the district. We take all concerns seriously. That was it. No apology, no visit, no justice. Then, one morning, Cody and I were walking past the schoolyard, on our way to the store. He froze, pointed through the chain-link fence. Mom, he whispered. That's the man. At first I thought he meant a teacher, but no. Sitting on the edge of the playground, near the dumpster, was a man in a green army jacket, torn at the sleeves, long beard, wrinkled skin, a coffee cup by his foot. I said, Cody, what do you mean? Cody tugged my sleeve. That night, he was the one who opened the door. He gave me his coat. I walked up to the man. Sir? Excuse me? He looked up, eyes sharp, tired, but not lost. You help a kid here a few weeks ago? He blinked, then smiled, slow and sad. Little guy locked in the quiet box. I nodded. That was my son. His name was Raymond Grant, Vietnam veteran, Navy corpsman, used to live in a trailer with his brother before the fire. Now slept in a tent behind the train station. He said he was looking for cans behind the school when he heard banging. Muffled, like someone kicking from inside a wall. He looked through the tiny glass slit in the calm-down room door. Saw Cody, alone. Said the staff didn't hear him knocking. But when they finally opened it, they acted annoyed. Not guilty. So he waited. Sat outside the school every day since. Just in case. That night I cried. Not because of what happened, but because a man who had nothing gave more care to my son than the people paid to protect him. Next day, I brought him a hot meal. Next week, a sleeping bag. He told me stories about the Navy, about his dog tags, about his brother. Told Cody how to whistle with 2 fingers. Cody laughed for the first time in weeks. I asked the school to meet with me again, told them I had a witness, a veteran. They said, "We don't allow non-parent outsiders into incident reviews." They called him a vagrant. I said, "He's the only adult who helped my child. That makes him more than anyone in this building." They said they'd follow up. They didn't, so I made flyers, told the story, posted on Facebook. People started sharing. 1 post, then 100, then 1,000. Then someone knocked on my door. A woman in a navy coat, microphone in hand. "Local 5 News. We saw your post. Mind if we ask about the calm room incident?" I told everything. The silence, the room, the man in the army jacket. They aired it that night. Cut to Raymond, sitting on a crate, saying, "Kid shouldn't be alone. Not like that. No soldier should be forgotten, and no child should be locked away." He became a symbol. People brought him meals, blankets. One veteran dropped off his own coat, said, "Thanks for reminding the world we still matter." And the school? They called. Suddenly. Urgent. "Ms. Harper, we'd like to revisit your complaint." But I wasn't coming alone. Next time, I brought Raymond with me. We walked into that school like it was enemy territory. Me in my black coat, Raymond in his old navy jacket, stitched at the elbows, and Cody in the middle, holding both our hands. The principal, the district counselor, and one man in a suit I didn't recognize sat behind a long table. They said, "We're reopening the incident file. We appreciate your feedback." I said, "This isn't feedback. This is my son's trauma. And this is the man who saved him." They looked at Raymond. I watched them try to place him, try to judge him, try to control the room. They failed. Raymond stood, looked them dead in the eye, and said, "I served in 2 countries that didn't want me, saw men die in silence, and I know what it feels like to be forgotten. Your school locked a child in a room for 3 hours, no food, no water, no comfort. You didn't lose track. You just stopped caring." Silence. Then the man in the suit said, "Mr. Grant, we appreciate your concern, but this is a confidential matter and—" Raymond cut him off. "You don't need to appreciate anything. You need to fix it." They told me they'd review training protocols, that they'd consider changes, that Cody could return when appropriate accommodations are made. I said, "He's not coming back. Not until that room is removed. Not until someone says out loud that what happened was wrong." That night, I asked Raymond why he stood up for us. He smiled, then pulled something from his pocket. A photo, curled edges, a boy in a yellow jacket. His son. "Haven't seen him in 14 years. After the war. I wasn't well. I told myself I'd come back once I got stable. But stable never came." He said he sees his son in Cody. Said he hears him in the way Cody laughs when pigeons flap too close. And the way he counts the cracks in the sidewalk, like it keeps him safe. Raymond never wanted attention. But now people knew his name. Veterans groups reached out. One offered to place him in transitional housing. He said maybe, but only if he could bring his tent. Not ready to live in 4 walls again, not yet. Cody started sleeping better. He talked more. And one night, he asked to go visit the school, just to look. We stood outside the fence. He pointed to the window with the thin glass slit, whispered, "I was scared, but I thought if I made no noise, I'd disappear." Then he looked up at me. and said something that broke me. I thought I was bad. That's why they put me in the box. I knelt down, held him. No, baby, you're not bad. You're a child, and they failed you. I told that to the press the next day. They ran it with the headline, "Mom says son was locked in isolation for being too much to handle." The comments exploded. Some people blamed us. Others said it happened to their kid too. Then, the local VA invited Raymond to speak. He wore a donated suit, stood at the podium, said, "I was trained to rescue men under fire, but no one trained me to rescue a child in my own country, in my own neighborhood, from people who call themselves educators." They gave him a standing ovation. One officer wept. Meanwhile, the school district sent me another letter, legal sounding, threatening, accusing me of public defamation. Raymond just laughed. Let them try. My boots are older than their lawsuits. Cody started drawing again, pictures of spaceships, dinosaurs, soldiers with kind eyes. He made one of Raymond, said it was his guardian in a coat. And then, one morning, I opened the front door and found a manila envelope. Inside, a document. Emergency use of restraint and isolation. Internal review findings. It listed dates, times, confirmed Cody had been left alone without scheduled checks, signed by the school psychologist. But, at the bottom, someone had written in pen, "This isn't the first time." The handwritten line haunted me. This isn't the first time. Whoever wrote it didn't sign, didn't leave a name. But they left a truth. And once it's out, you can't put it back. I sent a copy to Rachel, the reporter. She published a follow-up. This time the headline read, "Secret isolation rooms used repeatedly in local school. Whistleblower confirms." It blew up. State officials launched an inquiry. News trucks parked outside the school. Parents showed up angry. One mother said, "My daughter came home crying for weeks. She was scared of the white walls. Now I know what she meant." Then came the hearing. The district tried to hold it behind closed doors. But Raymond and I weren't having it. We showed up. So did dozens of other parents. Veterans stood outside with flags. Kids held signs. We deserve kindness. No more quiet rooms. Thank you, Raymond. Inside, they let us speak. I told them about Cody's eyes, about his silence, about his small shoes sitting in a locked room while the world forgot. I said, "You don't fix a struggling child by putting them in solitary. You don't build character through fear. And you don't get to call it support if you never listened." Then Raymond stood. He held up his old dog tags. "I wore these in places where I saw things no one should see. But the worst thing I've ever witnessed was right here, in a town that claims to protect its children. We send men to war and forget them. We raise children and silence them. But silence doesn't make us safe. It makes us sick." Silence. Then applause. The superintendent resigned a week later. The calm-down room was shut down permanently. The state passed the Student Dignity Act, banning seclusion rooms in public elementary schools. Cody returned to class, a new school, across town. His new teacher had training in trauma-informed care. She called him curious and kind. He smiled for the first time in a parent-teacher meeting. Raymond moved into the veterans' residence, still kept his tent, folded neatly at the foot of his new bed. He visited every Saturday, brought Cody comic books. They built birdhouses, painted them blue. One day, Cody asked me if Raymond could come to career day. Said, he has the coolest job. He saves people. Raymond stood at the front of the classroom, held up his coat, told the kids about first aid, about maps, about what it means to stay when others leave. He ended with this: sometimes the bravest thing you can do is knock on a door and say, "I hear you." Sometimes heroes don't wear capes. Sometimes they're 6 years old and waiting to be found. Cody clapped the loudest. Later that night, Raymond stayed for dinner. We ate spaghetti, watched cartoons. He fell asleep on the couch. Cody curled next to him. I looked at them and thought, we didn't just survive. We found each other. Thank you for watching. If you want to get more that kind of stories, press like and check out our channel.